Hey, Inebri-arts, before we get into today's podcast, I just want to give a shout out to today's sponsors. Sponsors make this podcast happen, and, without them, we wouldn't be here. So we just want to say thank you to them. And this episode is presented by Wild CBD. Wild produces the best tasting edibles on the market using real fruit and all natural flavoring, with flavors inspired by the Pacific Northwest, high quality ingredients, real fruit, and consistent dosing. Wild has become one of the leading cannabis edible producers in the country. Wild's new CBD line currently offers real fruit-infused gummies in blackberry, huckleberry, lemon, and raspberry, and CBD-infused sparkling water in raspberry, lemon, blackberry, and blood orange. Blood orange, I love that flavor. So each gummy is dosed with 25 milligrams of CBD and can be purchased in a bottle of 10 or 20. Wild CBD is offering our listeners 30% off their next purchase from wildcbd.com. That's WYLDCBD.com by using the code POD. That's code POD for 30% off your next purchase. Wild CBD products are intended only for the use of individuals age 18 and older. Wild CBD products should only be consumed as directed on the label and should not be used if you are pregnant or breastfeeding. All Wild CBD products are made with ingredients containing 0% THC. Consult with a health professional prior to using Wild CBD in combination with any medications or other dietary supplements. And our second sponsor for today is our good friends at Pretentious Pickles right here in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Pretentious Pickles. Damn it, man. They pickle everything. No matter what kind of vegetable you like, they pickle it. And beyond vegetables, they even do things like cranberries. It's all delicious. It's all hand cut and prepared right here in Plymouth, Massachusetts. They make just the best stuff. They have a store here locally, or you can go to pretentiouspickles.com and place your order online. And they're located at 190 Water Street in Plymouth, Mass. And make sure you check them out. I gotta say, man, I'm a big pickle fan, and their product is just fantastic. So thank you again to both Wild CBD and Pretentious Pickles. And now we're going to jump right into the podcast.
Cross the line, the Gulf Stream. I've been in Tampa Bay, around the Horn, and home again, 'cause that is the sailor's way.
Welcome to the Old Colony Cast, a podcast about all things Plymouth and surrounding areas. I am your host, Andy, and I am joined by Fish, and we're not assigning blame.
Oh, hi.
And as always, Hanna.
Hello.
And Hanna, what are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about a Plymouth classic.
Yeah, I feel like today's topic is... I'm kind of surprised we haven't... I mean, we've been doing the Old Colony for a little while. You've been on board almost a year now.
Just about.
That's
yeah.
awesome. And this topic has never come up before.
It hasn't, but I think, like, seasonality, it makes sense to do it now.
Yeah.
Right? So we're going to talk about Thanksgiving.
The first Thanksgiving.
The first Thanksgiving, or what you thought you knew about the first Thanksgiving.
So this is one of those, like, we're going to, break all the myths open and kind of like a Matrix blue pill, red pill kind of thing.
Pretty much. So what do you think happened at the first Thanksgiving?
What do I think happened? So...
What were you taught?
I'm going to think back to the 4th grade, and I was taught that the Pilgrims came together with the
with more pilgrims.
With more Pilgrims. So it wasn't just like one dude. It was a bunch of Pilgrims came together, and with the Native Americans, but like I was raised in the 80s, so they called them Indians inappropriately. And they shared their harvest, and it was like their big, we're getting along so great, and we're going to have turkey and sweet potatoes and Cool Whip and stuff. And there's a cornucopia. I don't know what that is, but every Thanksgiving had a cornucopia decoration.
I'm not sure if they actually had a cornucopia there.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Okay. So, kind of
Also
Just-
known as Horn of Plenty.
True.
Which is literally what cornucopia means.
Yeah.
Well, she asked me what I knew about
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
He gave me a lot of stuff to work with there.
Yeah.
And we probably.
And now we celebrate that every year by arguing with our relatives.
Yeah. Pretty much. So. Kind of disappointing to tell you guys, I guess, but someone needs to be the bearer of bad news. We weren't the first ones to host a Thanksgiving.
We, as in the three of us here?
The Pilgrims. The Pilgrims.
What do you mean?
They didn't host the first Thanksgiving in the colonies.
Where was it like?
Like literally list any other colony. and
Was
they
it
did
the Chinese? Because like the Chinese always did stuff first.
Actually,
And then,
so everyone else that got here, like giving thanks wasn't just a November harvest thing. Giving thanks was something that has been practiced in European like cultures all over, specifically religious
right.
parts of it. So they're really just celebrating, like giving Thanksgiving, thanking God. And it happened like pretty much any time a boat landed here. They were like, all right, we got to get on shore and give thanks.
It's that
Oh.
moment of thank God we made it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
So-
it was more just, it was a coming ashore party.
It wasn't just a coming ashore party. It was giving thanks for like any major, like, hey, we made it through this thing. So, yes, the
Ah.
Pilgrims definitely had a let's give thanks because none of us have died in a while. And
So if we were pilgrims, we'd be having a Thanksgiving right now, being like, thank God we made it through the election.
it could be an occasion, but you need it.
Something trying. And
It was specific to give thanks to God too.
Okay.
So it wasn't just like let's get together and just like commemorate this and we're all alive and well.
That's
it was
funny because
really
I
for
never
God.
thought of it as a religious.
It was just like
practice.
it was.
Yeah.
It was just like and it wasn't just Europeans, Native Americans too. So or just natives.
Yeah.
They give thanks year round for just different occasions in a much different way because it's obviously different religions and spiritual practices. So yeah,
That's so weird because I mean I feel like Americans love to wrap religion into holidays,
yeah,
and that is completely devoid from it now.
yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
And
I mean, people still will say a prayer of thanks if they're religious, but it's not.
no, I know, and we
Yeah.
think of it as this American
Yeah.
holiday, and it came over to America. It wasn't like something we created here.
Wow.
And I say we so loosely because
Yeah.
it's not you're right. It wasn't the three of us, Andy, but the Pilgrims, which I always say we, and I'm not even remotely related to the Pilgrims. I'm so far
It's
from
kind of like that when, the Boston Bruins or the Red Sox make the playoffs, people will be like, oh, we made the playoffs.
Yeah.
We're not Pilgrims, but they're our team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plymothians.
Plymothians.
So, yeah, they weren't the first ones. Early on in the colonies, the Virginia Company celebrated a Thanksgiving. They didn't call it Thanksgiving; they called it Giving Thanks. Who else? I don't know. Just Jamestown, like
So pretty much everybody.
Maine, like the colony that was up in Maine before us.
The Mass Bay Colony.
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mass Bay Colony. They had probably a couple too. It wasn't anything that's necessarily noted as specific dates, times. It's just happened when, like we talked about. Something.
So it could have been June.
Yeah.
Didn't matter.
Yep.
Huh.
So not related. A fruitful harvest was definitely reason to celebrate and give thanks to God because of that. So the timing of that specific type of giving thanks lines up with the one we have today.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. So there's one theory that the giving of thanks was directly, the first one was tied to a specific Christian holiday called Michaelmas. Michaelmas?
Michaelmas?
Yeah. Like
Yeah. The Feast of St. Michael the Archangel.
they,
Oh, okay.
At
Yeah.
the end September 29th.
How the heck? I had all this written down and I didn't even need it.
That's why we keep him around, Hannah.
Yes. So there's
He's not just the eye candy.
So there's actually some theory that, and some, evidence because the date was not late November that they celebrated the first Thanksgiving. It was anywhere between late September, mid-September into mid-November. So it didn't even happen at the end of November. So they think maybe they were actually just celebrating Michaelmas. And it was a very specific reason to give thanks, but it was also like what Fish said.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a specific archangel and religious purpose. So, but might not have been, because they were also like, hey, we just had this really like awesome, I don't know, we did all this farming over the summer. Now we get to eat it. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
We did-
It's one of those, I suppose if you've worked that hard all summer and then you have this huge amount of food, you would kind of indulge.
Little column A, little column B, maybe.
Yeah.
So we do know that they were 100% pumped that they survived and that they had this much food to store over the winter, not just like eat in that moment, but store over the winter. And like store a lot. Like they were talking about turkeys on turkeys and like venison, just different vegetables, drying them out and having to have those like throughout the winter. So it's definitely an occasion to celebrate, thinking about where they came from first landing on the shore and most people dying within the first few months. So they were pumped. There's no doubt about it. They were also so pumped that they supposedly decided to celebrate by firing off a couple cannons.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Just like, hey, why not, right?
I had a cannon.
And this is actually a really good article I read from VOA News. And they did some interviews with some people from the Plymouth Pawtuxet Museum and one of the people in the Mashpee tribe, I believe, which they gave some pretty good understanding of what likely happened. I believe the article is like what really happened on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And they talked about how the Pilgrims fired off the cannons. They were likely doing some hunting, just causing a lot of noise. And the closest tribe, like people that were there for the Mashpees, were like, what the hell are they doing now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are they up to?
They were like noisy upstairs neighbors. They had to like go yell at them.
Yeah, or pretty much like, oh, God, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, what could they possibly be getting into?
God knows I hate when my neighbors are setting off cannons at 8 a.m. in the morning.
You know, so they went to go check it out. So the invite to the natives wasn't necessarily because they were like, hey, we need to celebrate with these people that helped us out, Squanto specifically, like helping us plant, helping us do all this stuff. It was really because the natives were like, why are they firing off cannons and what are they doing? Because they had a natural distrust for what was going on there. So they went over just to see what's up, and they didn't believe what the Pilgrims were saying about just like hunting and being excited for the harvest.
Yeah.
So they stuck around to find out.
Oh, really?
Because
they like crashed it.
They crashed it, kind of. But I'm sure when this is me, of course, giving my own mental narrative. In my head, I'm like, hey, they show up. They're like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, hey, we just got all this food. Like, you want some? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then like linger, make sure it's cool. I think a part of it too, it's like, why are they firing off cannons? That's such a big,
If they're happy, why are they shooting guns?
and why, well, like, is someone else coming that could be a threat
Yeah.
to the Mashpee or whatever other tribe might have been there at the time? Like, I think that likely has something to do with it. Like, is there a different group of people coming here, and
Yeah.
are they firing off cannons to let them know where they are? Like, what's going to happen? You know? And should we be okay with those people coming here? Are they safe? Whatever. So, like I said, the Pilgrims were pumped. They were like, we harvested this food. The warriors that went in to investigate didn't believe them, so they hung out and camped out at night and just kind of watched from the woods to make sure that everything was cool. And it turns out everything was cool. So they actually ended up helping supply some of the venison and different like eels, fishing. They helped supply a lot of the food too that for what would be the first Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
What we call
quote unquote first
Thanksgiving. Yeah, what we call the first Thanksgiving. So where are we now? You keeping up so far?
So far.
So we don't know exactly what they ate And like I said, we don't even know the exact date.
Date, right.
Yeah, they think it was anywhere from a 3-month span. So like, what are the chances they actually know what they ate?
Mm-hmm.
Not the best, but we know at least a little bit just from like historical
So
English gardens.
Do we know if it was like a 1-day event or was it like
There's 3 days.
it was 3 days?
Yeah.
So what they ate would have varied depending on the day.
Oh yeah, exactly. And they weren't just getting food for what would be their giving of thanks. They were getting food to like really stock up on their stores too.
Right.
So we know what they ate from what they likely brought over from England, so like traditional English gardens, and what they were taught could grow there from the mashed peas, and I don't know whatever else they could hunt, fish, collect. Not mashed potatoes,
Okay.
not pies.
No pies?
No pies.
Really?
Yeah, which pie is a thing, but they just didn't.
They just that.
Not that we're surely aware of, at least.
Yeah. See, I would have guessed. See, I wouldn't think turkey. I would have thought venison.
Yeah.
I would have thought shellfish of some kind. Mm-hmm. Fish and produce of some. Like, potatoes doesn't super surprise me because I think that as a later crop. But maybe some sort of pumpkin-y
Oh yeah.
corn.
Yep. You got it. So yeah, you're right. They do have a lot of actual seafood: lobster, eel, mussels, probably clams, right? So as far as vegetables, they had cabbage, carrots, cucumbers, collard greens, parsnips, turnips, beets, onions, radishes, lettuce, spinach, sage, thyme, parsley. For seasoning, fennel, anise, dill. This one I don't know what that is. Marjoram? Do you know what that is?
I've definitely heard of it, but I can't think of what
I've
it is.
never used it myself.
I feel like I definitely have heard of it.
I probably have heard of it.
If I had signal down here, I'd look it up. We'll have Fish look it up on this.
Do you know what marjoram is?
But a lot of those make sense because like turnip and onion and carrots are root vegetables and are going to store well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that, like you said too, they had beans, squash, specifically pumpkins, possibly Jerusalem artichokes, which
Okay.
I thought was pretty specific.
I was going to say, I don't know how those vary from artichokes.
I've no clue, but wild onion, different from the onions they grew, garlic, watercress, cranberries, walnuts, chestnuts, and Concord grapes. And just foods that were likely seasonally available. So yeah, they had grown a really good amount of corn over the summer. So they most likely had corn. And although it doesn't say specifically that turkey was the main course, it was likely part of the meal. It's not like noted in anyone's diary about the day that they specifically had like
open-faced turkey sandwiches the next day or something.
Like nothing like that. So, but I mean, they did talk about that there were turkeys like running rampant in Plymouth. So they had a lot to hunt
they
from.
still do.
Yeah, they're all over the place. I heard someone said to me the other day, they were like, who the heck was it? I wonder if they listen to this, they're going to hear this and be like, it was me. They said that there's so many turkeys in Plymouth running around now because of the solar fields.
What does the solar fields have to do with turkeys?
I don't know. I didn't really question it in the time.
Does it just give them like a place to kind of be safe?
No, I think it cleared out forests that they would have been.
Oh, so now they have more space to run around?
No, so now they have...
Or they're forced out of.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
That's kind of what I meant.
Opposite, but I don't think solar fields really push... turkeys are all over the place. They can fly, they can go
I feel like they're
wherever.
obnoxious everywhere.
Who said that to me?
I don't
If
know.
you listen, I'm sorry, and I think I just debunked your theory.
Because the only solar fields I can think of is the one up on Armstrong Road, which it wasn't a very big forest if there's forest there.
Yeah.
And the one that's like right next to the highway, which definitely was not.
Like off near exit 5.
X5, yeah.
Or whatever it is now. They just changed the numbers.
Oh, did they?
You know what? On 195 they did. I don't know if they did it on Route 6.
Well, this is
3A.
all compelling and
3A.
not related to
3?
Thanksgiving.
Route 3. Sorry. Anyway. So,
So wait, which exit did the Pilgrims take to get to the first Thanksgiving? Was it
It depends on probably 6,
6.
or if you're coming from the south.
Maybe they came down Old 44.
6A, yeah. Same as that street. It wasn't a one-way then, so they could,
they could just come. I gotcha.
Yeah. Past the skate park
Yeah.
if they wanted to. So, who was in attendance? We kind of already talked about who, but like who was really in attendance?
Like specifically, like who were the famous people there?
I mean, we know the famous people who didn't die, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we don't gotta go through the name. There's like 3 major dudes with the lesser known like handful of 10 dudes of like local Plymouth history. But
You just like look around. It's like Bradford's, Brewster's, Holland.
we should make a song for that.
Oh yeah, there you go.
So there were 52 survivors at the time of the Thanksgiving from the initial boat ride over for pilgrims. And then as far as the Mashpee who came over, they said it was around 90.
90 of them?
Yeah.
So when they went to see what was going on, they like legit were like some stuff's going down.
Massasoit went too. So
Yeah.
it was like, they were taking it pretty seriously. Like,
Because that's not like a, hey, let's go check things out. That's like a, oh,
like
crap.
I said, they're probably like, what the hell is coming next after these bozos? Like,
These bozos.
yeah, I don't know. Spent the whole winter cold and dying. So, yeah, there's about 90 of them. Like I said, it was a 3-day feast. And they had, I can't say that the women and children took a real part in the feasting.
Really?
It was more, it sounds
They
more-
did the prep work?
Yes, that's the general census of everything that we've read.
It's nice to know some traditions still hold true.
You gotta keep it consistent.
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate.
Hey, fish. Marjoram, you ever used it on anything?
I've put it on a shelf.
What? Okay,
What
it's
is
a
it?
seasoning, right?
It's a spice, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Never used it, though?
No.
I'm interested in it,
I'm curious now.
because I've never used it, so.
It's available in the spice section of your local grocery store until they run out and don't get any more in.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. Like most things.
Is there a big rush on it come Thanksgiving that you know of?
Not off the top of my head. I just know that a lot of the spices are tricky this time of year.
This time of year, yeah.
Especially right now.
I never would have known that. I don't spend much time cooking.
The baking aisle is
Thanksgiving.
like blown up this time of year.
Oh, yeah, it's so
Yeah.
true. So, this, like we said, this is the first Thanksgiving for the pilgrims.
Yeah.
Okay. If it helps, it's a lot like oregano.
Oh,
Okay,
that helps.
all right.
That helps. I don't like oregano.
What? How can you not like oregano?
It's fine. It's not my favorite, though.
I don't think I've ever had
is
it on
it in,
anything besides a pizza.
Yeah.
Is it in Spice de Provence?
What is that?
It's like a spice mixture.
Okay. Like when you just buy the Italian seasoning spice?
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
a real specific one.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. Yes.
It is? Now that's where I've heard of it, because I have a thing of Spice de Provence in my
Herbe de
cabinet.
Provence is a mixture of dried herbs typical to the Provence region of southeast France, typically containing savory, marjoram, rosemary, thyme, and oregano.
Boom.
All right. Mystery unraveled.
I knew I'd heard of it.
Yeah, come for the history, stay for the spicy chat.
Yeah, I mean, you missed the compelling conversation we had about.
Turkeys and solar panels. That may not be like making the final cut of this.
I don't know. I think it's, you gotta wonder.
You'll find out later.
Solar powered turkeys.
I mean, technically, yeah.
Where was I? That was their first unofficial Thanksgiving, official/unofficial. Now they did decide in 1623. So now that was sometime in the fall, 1621,
Okay.
right? And this 1623, they were like, "Let's do this real deal. We're gonna have like a Thanksgiving, or a giving of thanks." They still weren't calling it Thanksgiving. Sorry, it was just giving of thanks, and they did this because it was the summertime, actually. It was the end of the summer. They had a crazy drought for months, and then it rained for 2 weeks straight, which ended up giving them just a really great harvest right at the end of the summer. So they did give thanks specifically because they thought they were going to lose everything.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, yep. Like
We
that
need
was,
to do that again.
Yeah, very intentional. Very like, we need to definitely thank the man above for sending all that rain down.
Is there any note of any conflict where if they're inviting the Wampanoag, where if they're giving thanks to different people?
Like, you think that they weren't cool with them coming because?
Well, no, I'm just curious if it was like, oh, we give thanks to, the Lord our Savior, and
I have
the
to
Wampanoag,
imagine.
we're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I have to imagine they both just lived in like respectful, like, of whatever the heck they had going on. Like, you guys are doing that,
Yeah.
we do this.
Just-
Up until a certain point,
Right, 'cause I'm
obviously,
just thinking,
'cause
like,
U.S.
in the-
history does not has
Yeah, 'cause
proven
if there's-
otherwise.
That's
Anything that the Pilgrims were great at, it's respecting the
Yeah.
religion of others.
and that was kind of like why. And I'm just thinking, like, if you're having this feast,
so. Do you think like they were? If anything, I think the Pilgrims would have been like, I don't know who you guys are, what you guys are giving things for, but it probably should be this guy, like imposing.
I and again, this is all just like spitball hypothetical.
Oh, yeah,
I
for
just
sure.
feel like everyone would sit down and the Pilgrims would be like, bow your heads and start praying.
Well, that's the thing.
And
like,
then
they weren't really at tables necessarily.
Okay.
It's not like they had tables for 90 Wampanoag people. I don't think they even ate
they
together
didn't. Oh, okay.
necessarily.
Yeah.
Like, were they in the same vicinity? Yeah, but
So it
just,
might have just been people like kind of scattered all about.
yeah,
Okay.
just hanging out. Again, I don't know if they initially were like, it's going to be a giving of thanks. I think it just unraveled into.
Yeah. I just had visions of like if you ever go to a church that you don't belong to, and they're like, we'll now all bow our heads, and then you can see everyone who's not of that religion just kind of like looking around at each other, being like,
I bet
do I
that
bow
happened.
my head now?
Oh,
Like,
I bet. And like
Yeah.
I said before, that's like, I'd like to imagine since they're recent neighbors, I'm
Yeah.
sure they weren't like, I'm not sure. They probably were in their faces.
Yeah.
I don't know. They were like,
I was just curious.
right.
Yeah.
Me too. If someone from them could tell me, I would
All right.
I would appreciate it. But it's not necessary. I
When
think
we roll out the old colony cast time machine.
I think that like the colonizing obviously had started, and mistreatment of natives obviously had started. I don't know specifically with this colony when they necessarily started to like encroach on
On the native people.
native people's beliefs, culture, all that stuff. It had definitely happened from other people visiting before. I don't know specifically with this one, so I'd be interested to know like if this dinner was awkward or if they were like, these are our neighbors, we're gonna be cool with them for right now.
Right, yeah.
Or if they were like, I don't know if you've heard of God.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy. Like if they were trying to like ease into it somehow. I have no idea, but we know that obviously
Eventually didn't end well.
not at all.
Yeah.
So, like I said, they weren't the first. It wasn't the first Thanksgiving. They had that other great giving of thanks after the poor weather because drought and then too much rain, but it ended up working out for them. So the actual Thanksgiving title and holiday. Do you know who created that?
Abraham Lincoln.
That is right.
That's right. Public education.
That is all right.
I didn't learn it in high school. I learned it as an adult.
Yeah, no, I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that in.
But that's when
in
Thanksgiving came. Like he made it a national holiday.
He did, yeah. He made it a national holiday because of specifically the country being war torn,
Right.
right? Civil War. They said that like families couldn't even eat together, like they weren't talking because of the different stances they were taking on things. And I was like, it sounds so similar.
Right. I feel like we need a thank you Thanksgiving.
And yeah, Abraham Lincoln was the one who made it a national holiday, but recognized but lesser known to the people just knowing off the top of their hat. Tall hat.
Tall hat.
That
Yeah, I got it.
Abraham Lincoln was the one who made it a holiday. Is that Sarah Joseph Hale? She was an editor for a women's magazine back then, a pretty influential one. And she was the one who convinced Abraham Lincoln to make it a holiday. She said it would just be like,
And is she the one that kind of set up the like turkey as the entree? And
yeah, like created the idea of what like a dinner would look like to bring a family back together
yeah,
to give thanks on Thanksgiving.
on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Nice.
So obviously, like everyone looks at Thanksgiving differently in America. For some Native people, that's looked at as the day of mourning.
Day of mourning, sure.
Yep. We know that here in Plymouth for Thanksgiving Day Parade, there's usually a protest from the tribes here. We know that the Rock has been covered up a couple times, which I thought was honestly like coolest. But like was like, where'd the Rock go? Like,
Yeah.
he just looked really quick. And I mean, as Americans or United Statesians, as I like to say,
United Statesians.
yeah, it's a little more accurate.
It is, yeah, because Americans would be Canadians, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. They, celebrate it every year, the 24th. Like, that's how it happened forever. Not as simple as that, just like everything we know with the pilgrims and getting here and setting stuff up. And I don't think it was anything they ever meant to be what it is today.
So for them, it was just a normal, something good happened. We say thank you.
Yep.
Go about your business.
Yeah, it wasn't even there's like other...
So they didn't watch football?
No. There's other towns, like, how there's Providence fights with us, or Plymouth, over being where is the first landing point.
Oh,
of the
Providence
Pilgrims.
town, yeah.
There's different towns from original colonies that claim, like, the first Thanksgiving.
Oh, really?
Lesser known
Yeah.
arguments and lesser drive behind them, but that's a thing. So Thanksgiving happened pretty frequently.
As to which one was the first was kind of inconsequential, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it definitely wasn't intended to be something celebrated 400 years later by the entire country.
That's really interesting because I feel like our first episode was about Plymouth Rock and how everyone's like, it's fake. And now everyone's kind of like, or not everyone, everyone who listens is kind of like, maybe.
Yeah.
And now this is the exact opposite, where it's like, maybe we had the first Thanksgiving. Like,
Yeah.
that could be the fake part of Plymouth history.
It could be. It's definitely, obviously, just from...
That's right. Old Colony Cats, very controversial.
Just from, Plymouth's notoriety,
Yeah.
We did everything first, which is fine. Fine by me. But that's really it for the Thanksgiving. It's happened so long ago, there's not a lot of records, so
Nice.
not a lot of personal accounts.
And it's going to be a weird one this year.
It definitely is. What are you... I'm looking forward to pumpkin pie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I'm a turkey person. Like
Turkey?
Yeah.
Turkey. And I'm a big fan of the canned cranberry sauce. And-
Yes.
Okay.
100%. And everyone else is wrong.
Yeah. I get real...
I don't like cranberry. The only thing I like cranberry sauce in is barbecue sauce.
See, I'm one of these people where, like, pineapple on pizza, pineapple not on pizza. Can't you just let people eat what they like? Cranberry sauce? No, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to look like a can.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
So
it's
you
the
prefer
best.
the jellied stuff to
Yeah.
the whole
Oh,
berry.
yeah. Get the real
I don't
canned
prefer.
stuff
I'm
outta
right
here.
and everyone else is wrong.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'll stand on that pedestal also.
That is my hill to die on.
I do not have a strong enough opinion on this to fight you.
And I hate stuffing. Ooh.
I could take it or leave it. But I'm a firm believer in never, ever, ever put stuffing in your turkey.
Okay.
Because it's a breeding ground for salmonella.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's gross.
Because in order to raise it to the temperature to kill salmonella, you dry out your turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, because basically you're just shoving moist
Bread.
bread
Yeah.
into your bird, and that's not helpful.
So you should
Ugh.
technically make dressing, which is stuffing that is made in its own.
So gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine.
Sorry, guys.
It's
Oh, my
fine.
God. I
No.
just let out my... I'm like, ooh.
No, I get it.
No,
like,
it's fine. I don't I'm very much a turkey and mashed potatoes
Yeah.
and then pie after kind of person.
I love
so
mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
I don't even-
What kind of pie? Well, you said pumpkin.
I like pumpkin, but I can
I
do
like apple pie.
all pies. I'm here for all pies.
I was always a big believer in my grandmother's chocolate cream pie.
Ooh, yeah.
See, I feel like I was the kid that always filled up. So by the time dessert rolled around, I was like, no, thank you.
And
Because I love me some crackers and cheese and like
Yep.
the vegetable
listeners
trays.
cannot see me, but the two of you can, and obviously I can always find space for pie.
Oh yeah, I love pie. I'll take pretty much any kind of pie.
My one big objection to Thanksgiving,
What is that?
dinner's not at 1.
Yeah,
I don't understand. It seems like it keeps getting earlier and earlier.
I feel
and earlier.
like people think the Pilgrims did that.
I don't
Or
understand
something.
why they do
Honestly,
it.
I've always thought it was just I'm hungry now.
Yeah.
You know,
Like-
that's
like the longer you go, like eating dinner at 4 either means that you're eating like maybe breakfast and then nothing until 4 o'clock, which means you're skipping lunch.
I was gonna say, I bet you that's what it
Which
is.
leaves
People
you-
don't want to quote ruin dinner, so
Yeah.
they don't
Super
eat.
peevish because you don't eat lunch because you're eating in like 3 hours.
Just eat a sandwich, man.
Yeah, but at that point it's like, and then it's like I'll ruin my appetite. It's like, no, I'm gonna eat myself sleepy in like 2 hours. I can wait. And then by like 1:45, you're cranky hungry, and then you've got 2 more hours of that uncle you don't like for reasons.
I just realized how much grief I'm going to get over saying I hate stuffing. I feel like
Really?
so many people. Anytime I tell people that, they're just like, "What? You don't like moist bread?
I mean,
You're a
Seasoned-
fool."
to me, it's
Seasoned
like
moist
it's
bread.
fine. Like it is. It is not even.
It is
See?
fine, but it is not something I'm super gonna miss off my plate.
Yeah, on Thanksgiving, like I have the obligatory scoop of stuffing because
Yeah.
it's Thanksgiving, and it's fine. But like,
No, I can't do it.
if it wasn't there, I
It's
wouldn't
not.
even
I'm
notice.
not going back for seconds of that.
well, I'm happy I'm amongst
I
friends.
will bury
Yeah.
my plate in like my plate will be literally like half turkey, half mashed potatoes, all gravy.
So, mashed potatoes are fine too.
Yeah, I love mashed potato squash.
Andy, I am retracting your Irish card.
Like, they're fine. Like I love. I would rather potatoes prepared 100 other ways, but mashed potatoes are fine.
Carrots. You guys do any carrots?
I don't like.
Oh,
cooked-
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts. Yeah,
Heck
I'm
yeah.
down.
I don't like cooked vegetables.
Oh,
I will
yeah.
Cooked carrots are one that I'm not a big fan
Cooked
of.
carrots are
They're
like-
mushy.
Yeah, like carrots supposed to crunch.
Yeah.
Like
Well-
I prefer my carrots in the traditional like you feed to the rabbit that lives in your neighborhood.
So last year I had a very probably traditional Thanksgiving, and
Yeah.
we had duck and
And duck
was it a roast beef?
and goose.
It was a duck and a roast beef. Like it was not
I
turkey.
don't
It was-
even.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was duck and some sort of roast.
Yeah, and one of the people had an English accent, so it was very
Yeah, so it
traditional.
was very
for the
I
traditional.
time.
wonder if they're. No, they didn't bring any cattle over. It was just they brought like a goat.
It might have been
and
roast
sheep.
pork. I don't remember.
Okay, yeah. So not very traditional. It sounds like.
You had duck. I
Yeah,
feel like duck
joking.
is. Listen,
Joking.
don't make me get
I mean,
people
they
mad
didn't,
at
like,
you.
eat outside on different tables and
Oh yeah, on the ground.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just fire off some cannons. Hey, they're putting those cannons back on Burial Hill.
They're putting cannons back on Burial Hill?
Yeah.
Are these going to be like active cannons?
No,
Oh,
no,
that's
but just
unfortunate.
like a commemorating. Like, yeah, that's where they were before.
To what? Defend the harbor
Yeah,
from
From invaders.
Captain
pop
John's
them off on
boats.
Thanksgiving every year.
from like errant whale watchers. I mean, it's kind of late, guys.
You just never know.
What's next? They're gonna put the cannon back on the Mayflower?
Are they not on the Mayflower
I
anymore?
don't know.
I don't know. I haven't been on the Mayflower since
I haven't
it
been
got
on the
back.
new one.
I haven't been either.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the 12 Tribes ship? The
No.
tall ship that came
The
into
12 tribes?
12 Tribes of Israel?
They had a tall ship? No.
They have a tall ship. Yeah, they sail it up from Brazil.
Why do they have a tall ship?
Attraction.
Aside from having aside from
It's so
getting
cool.
money, for no real reason to. Spend
I
it
heard
all.
I saw a post say something about like when did the tall ship leave, or when is the tall ship leaving Plymouth?
I have
And someone's
no
like,
idea.
it's gone already. And
Oh,
I'm
it's
like,
gone already?
I don't know. And I'm like, I didn't even know there was one. So,
Yeah, it's quick.
Yeah.
It's speedy.
I mean, it's not that quick. I mean, it's sail.
Yeah. Well, they have it.
Yeah.
It's theirs.
Cool.
Yeah.
So do we have any other wrapping up notes?
No, but I'm happy listeners get to know what our preferences are for Thanksgiving.
I feel like it's important.
Yeah, I mean, it's why people listen.
Hashtag moist bread.
Yeah, that's right. And what's next?
Yeah, I think this is the part where we stop talking.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast. You can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art or on Instagram at Inebri-art6. You can email us at Inebri-art@yahoo.com. And make sure you listen to the other podcasts on the Inebri-art Podcast Network, including Bar Talk, Old Colony Cast, Retro Redoctopus, America's Hometown Horror Podcast, and our newest one, Theme Park Legends, a podcast about working at theme parks. What else? And we'll catch you again next time.